was
Ano itu watch ko?
I'm just going to wait.
Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, it's afternoon over here. Glad you could all join us. We'll start with the Toastmasters Promise. So please join me as we recite the promise together. As a member of Toastmasters International and my club, I promise to attend club meetings regularly, to prepare all of my projects to the best of my ability, basing them on the Toastmasters education program, to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluations, to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow, to serve my club as an officer when called upon to do so, treat fellow club members and our guests with respect and courtesy, meetings so they can see the benefits Toastmasters membership offers, to adhere to the guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters education and recognition programs, to act within Toastmasters core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence during the conduct of all Toastmasters activities. Thank you all fellow Toastmasters and guests for joining us today for this first of its kind division debate. Without much ado, I'll introduce our first Toastmaster of the day, whose responsibility would be to oversee the first four debates. Fellow Toastmasters, please welcome a human resource specialist, a former club president, and the current Club Growth Director, Division F, District 94, Toastmaster Elemoro Ademola, our Toastmaster of the Day 1.
Thank you very kindly, Mr. Program Quality Director, and of course, the past area director, and of course, the past club president as well. It is a pleasure to be here today, especially to facilitate today's debate. And as rightly mentioned, this is one of its kind. And I'm very, very excited for so many reasons because I've been a fan of debates for a very long time. And last month, I was also a part of a debate as well. And I understand the thrills, the enthusiasm, the passion, and the intellectual capacity that comes with such a concept. So I can't wait for all we're going to be doing today. And as rightly mentioned, we don't have much time in our hands. So do pardon me if I'm not able to put in some some embellishments in the course of facilitating today's debate. I'll be more concerned about introducing our speakers, talking about introducing our topics, and then trying to transition to other segments as fast as I can. Having mentioned that, I would like to go through the guidelines for today's debates very, very briefly. And the number one thing we have here is that we all treat our opponents with respect. Number two, never insult a speaker, but work on his arguments. Number three, each speaker has a maximum time of 3 minutes for the first round and 2 minutes for the second round. Number four, the timekeeper checks the time carefully. He or she gives the green card when a speaker has 1 minute to go. Yellow card follows when it is 30 seconds left, and the red card comes up when it's time up. All right, so that's for the first round. You have each speaker has 2 minutes, and after that 2 minutes, once it's 2 minutes 30 seconds, the yellow card comes up, and after that, once it's 3 minutes, you have the red card. And for the second round, you have 1 minute, you see the green card. For 1 minute 30 seconds, you have the yellow card. For the 2 minutes, you have the red card. So for the fifth rule, after speaking time is over, the speaker has 15 seconds to finish his or her sentence and must then stop. Interrupting the speaker is forbidden. The audience must not participate in the debates. At least that is the rule that I'm aware of for now, except it changes during the course of the meeting. No new constructive arguments may be introduced in the rebuttal period. Listen attentively, respectful of all participants, speak only when recognized by the moderator, which is myself. Use grammatically correct language, clearly, slowly, and loud enough to be heard by the audience. Speak with passion and excitement. You may bring some brief notes, but you may not read from them. Maintain good eye contact on your screen at all times. So, like I said, I'm very, very excited about this, and I can't wait to introduce our first speakers. And I do hope that we all stick to the guidelines that I've read out so far. And as mentioned, I will be facilitating this debate. So if you're ready, please get a thumbs up from all our audience right now. Please, a thumbs up if you're ready to go. Can I see your thumbs up? All right, all right. All right, so for our first topic today, we have sex education is necessary for secondary school students. Sex education is necessary for secondary school students. I would like to remind us again that this is about just, having a good time, exchanging intellectual understanding, and there's no pressure anywhere, there's no judgment anywhere. And what makes this particularly interesting is that I'm sure we have a different perspective. So right now is sex education is necessary for students, and one speaker will be proposing. Speaker will be opposing. This particular topic, sex education is necessary for secondary school students. Please welcome to the virtual lectern from Division A, Toastmaster. Please ensure your mics are muted, please. Do we have Toastmaster Nina Fadiga here?
Is it just me, or is the Toastmaster of the day inaudible? Yes, I can't hear him as well, but I guess he already finished his introduction, and next is to call on the speaker, the first speaker of the day. So the first speaker could just proceed. I wouldn't know.
All right, I was actually calling out for Toastmaster Nina Fadiga. I don't know if he's here. Oh, we have Toastmaster Fadiga, of course. We have Toastmaster Fadiga. Toastmaster Fadiga, are you ready? I think you're muted. You're muted. I can hear you. Can anyone else hear Toastmaster Fadiga? She's speaking, but I can't hear.
I can't hear her.
All right, please work on your mic if it's the connection or the Bluetooth setting.
You are speaking, but you can't still hear you, please. We can see you, but you can't hear you.
Yeah, we can see you, but we can't really hear you.
Please log out and then try logging in again. Okay, thanks.
One, two, three, four.
All our debaters who are online should please also check their audio and video to ensure everything is on point. Please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Pastor Francine, yes, we can. We can hear you clearly. That's good.
Checking my audio too. Can you hear me?
Well, perfect. Yes, we can.
Great.
Mr. Sako, I hope you're hearing me.
Oh, we still can't hear Toastmaster Nina.
Here is Idrissa Sako. Are you hearing
We
me?
move on to the next topic.
Yes, it can be heard.
Mr.
Sako.
Okay, thank you.
Est-ce qu'elle peut l'utiliser? Nina Fatiga, est-ce que vous pouvez
Wow.
utiliser des écouteurs? Peut-être que
Okay.
avec les écouteurs, ça va passer. Essayez d'utiliser des écouteurs, ça pourra passer.
Toastmaster of the day, I think we should move on to the next speaker while she fixes her audio issue.
All right, let's move on to the next speaker while she gets ready. So for our next topic, we have marriage is no longer necessary. Marriage is no longer necessary. To propose on that topic, we'll be having from Division J, Toastmaster Yoda Nadin. Do we have Toastmaster Yoda? House? Do we have Toastmaster Yoda Nadin?
Can everybody confirm that I can be heard?
Yes, you can. Toastmaster Mercy, we can.
Okay.
Hello, Toastmaster Yoda Nadin, are you there?
We lost you for a moment. Toastmaster Lamaro.
All right, I'm here. But do we have Toastmaster Yoda Nadin in the house?
Hello, can you hear me?
All right, I can hear you. I can hear you
Hello?
perfectly well.
My connection is not that good.
Oh, we hope you to survive for the next talk will be 10 minutes.
Yes, I also hope so.
So
I may not be able to use my camera.
all right, that's
I'll try,
understandable.
I'll try.
That's understandable. So The topic is marriage is no longer necessary, and you're proposing on this topic. So to do justice, and your time starts now.
Sorry, as she started her speech, I can't hear her.
I think we lost her. I think we lost. I saw Toastmaster Nina. Toastmaster Nina was back in. I don't know if she sorted the mic now. Toastmaster Nina. Toastmaster Nina, if you can hear me, please confirm if you can hear me. I think it's been a very difficult network days. So have Toastmaster Pamela in the house. Do we have Toastmaster Pamela in the house?
Yes, contest moderator.
All right, I have a very good feeling about Toastmaster Pamela's network. And let me also confirm before we move ahead, do we have Toastmaster Bazimo in the house?
No,
we have Toastmaster Bazemo.
Idrissa is here for Bazimo. Yeah. Sako Idrissa is here for Bazimo. Bazimo is
okay.
Not,
Okay, so Toastmaster Sako is coming in for Toastmaster Bazemo.
Bazimo, yes, it is.
Awesome, awesome. All right then. So we have our first debaters for today, and the topic is children should not be allowed to use gadgets. I repeat, children should not be allowed to use gadgets. Toastmaster Pamela from Division F, you have the floor.
Toastmaster Pamela, you're muted. Unmute yourself.
Let me know when you're ready, please.
Yeah, we are good to go. You have 3 minutes, and I believe the timekeeper is also ready as well.
1,980,000,000. That is the global population of children as at 2020, as published by Statistica. This is the number of children that marketing and advertising agencies around the world target to their profits against the benefits of our children. Contest moderator, Toastmasters, guests, and my fellow contestants, I'm here to propose the motion that children should not be allowed to use gadgets. The first is their brain development. When I speak about children, I mean those between the ages of 0 to 14 years old. And when I talk about gadgets, I mean electronic devices from cell phones, TVs, games, the whole 9 yards. Brain development. Between the ages of 0 to 18 months, children's brains triple in size. Their brains are forming new neural pathways, and any interference with this natural process causes so many myriads of medical issues. Cognitive delays, delayed learning, underdeveloped language skills, decreased ability to self-regulate. That's just brain development. The second major issue that is as treacherous as the first is their health. Obesity, eyesight, straining of their eyesight, spending them on gadgets is not good. Carcinogenic. Do you know that according to a 2011 report from the World Health Organization, they released a report that stated that radiation emission and electromagnetic frequency from gadgets are classified as 2B category emissions and are probable carcinogens to humans. The third, as important as these first two, that are treacherous and misleading, that a lot of parents fall for, is that children that are exposed to gadgets are at the risk of losing out on nature and having reduced social interactions. In the words of Wendy Ologe, a parent coach, a best-selling author, and the founder of the Intentional Parent Academy. She says, children who are allowed to use gadgets, even if it is for educational purposes, the more time they spend on gadgets, the less time they spend on the real world, gathering knowledge and interactions that are more beneficial to their growth and development into better adults. I'm here to state the motion that children should not be allowed to use gadgets because we have been sold and we are sacrificing our children at the altar of beautiful marketing and sleek advertising agencies. Thank you. The contest moderator.
Wow. I don't know, but I suddenly feel it's starting to get hot now. So thank you very kindly, Toastmaster Pamela, for that beautiful presentation. Moving on to the opposing arguments, please welcome to the virtual lectern, Toastmaster Zako from Division J. Toastmaster Zako, you have the floor.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm so glad to be here. I want to say that I feel completely upset when I hear my opponent saying that children should not be allowed to use gadgets. You know, nowadays technology is part of our daily life. We don't have the choice whether we follow it or whether we start back, and we don't have the choice. You know, today there are many reasons for children, for us to allow children to get access to gadgets, and I will give you only 3 of them. Firstly, you know, it's no more a choice. It's no more a choice. It's a necessity today for our new life we are living today. Secondly, you know, gadgets alleviates the failure of the parents. And thirdly, it's proved that gadgets make our children smarter. And I will take each of these positions, these terms, and develop it. Firstly, I said that we don't have a choice. Using gadgets, allowing children to use gadgets is not a choice, but a necessity. You know, today our life is a high-tech life. Everything we do today is by using technology. If you want to buy your bill, you should use technology. You want to pay your school fees, you should use technology. You need information, you should know technology. Why not prepare our children from the cradle to use the main tool of the future? We don't have to wait when it's necessary, when it's absolutely necessary to allow them to use it. Let's take the example for the COVID-19. When the COVID-19 appears, we show that all parents all workers are working online. What did you think? Did you think for a child or a worker who cannot use these devices, it would be a failure? This is the first point. And I said that it's alleviates, gadgets alleviates the failures of our parents. Why? Because nowadays, both parents, mother and fathers, are working, and we don't have someone at home to take care of our children. So, as we don't have the time to take care of them, and we need them to do something, we have to use to give them useful tools and gadgets. I think, as my viewpoint, that is a very important thing. And thirdly, it makes smart. It makes smart. Why? Because an study and research conducted by Asian parents inside so that 98% of Southern Asian parents allow their children to use gadgets at the early childhood because it makes them smart. It prepares them to be active and competitive for the future life. We know our life is a fighter's life, it's a warrior's life. We don't have to skip to stay beside. Thank you very much.
All right, Toastmaster. Sako, thank you very much. Can you confirm I'm audible, please?
Yes, I can
Yes,
hear
you're
you.
audible.
I can hear you.
All right, thank you so much, Toastmaster Sako. That was a very, very beautiful one. And moving on to the rebuttal, I would like to put it to Toastmaster Pamela, something Toastmaster Sako rightly mentioned, and that is the part that using gadgets for those who are within that age bracket is actually a necessity. And when you use the word necessity, it means you have no choice. It means it is the part and parcel of actually getting along with certain things that needs to be done. So how do you respond to that, Toastmaster Pamela? To the saying that gadget is now is a necessity even for those within that age bracket.
My response to that is very simple. Children using gadgets within that age bracket is detrimental to their health. Obesity. Do you know that for every 1 hour a child spends with gadgets, they run the risk of consuming food, the equivalent of 167 calories? Obesity. Convenience for our children. Are we talking about the convenience for adults or convenience for children? Do you know that the recommended time for children to spend on gadgets, 0 to 2 years old, not advised. 2 to 5 years old, 1 hour per day. And 6 years and older, adult supervision. Do we allow cigarettes for children and say it's harmful, but we can let them just have 1 stick a day? Nobody does that. Let us not fall for this guise of increasing our market share, working towards profitability, just because we want to sell these lofty ideas that without screens, children cannot survive. What children need is daily face-to-face interaction to increase their problem-solving skills, creativity. And the only place they can get it is by real life, once again, real life interactions. Thank you very much. Contest Chair.
All right, thank you very kindly, Toastmaster Pamela, for that beautiful response. Toastmaster Sako, please confirm if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Awesome, awesome. So you just heard what Toastmaster Pamela has just spoken to, and once again, she gives us some scientific background to our response. And during our first why that can actually be approved. So how do you really say that she we shouldn't give her the kudos, considering she's giving us scientific evidence to reason why the gadgets are actually harmful to those within that necessity. So how do you balance that?
Okay, thank you very much. What I noticed is that Pamela is not judging gadgets, but she's judging the misuse of gadgets. This is the point. I think it may be clear for everyone. You know, let me tell you something. A research conducted by the CDC in the US proved that 48 million of people are suffering from foodborne illness every year in the US. Why doesn't she tell that we don't know how to eat, because when eating we become ill? So this is the misuse of gadgets. And I feel that it needs to be clear. It needs to be clear. Gadgets are the main tool of the future. It's the main tool of our life. How can you tell a child that to go and pay a bill if he cannot use his smartphone? I'm sure in the future, bankers will no more have houses. We will no more have buildings. We will do all online. So don't create people who will be outside the society who cannot use the main tool for life. Sorry. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Pamela and Toastmaster Sako. Please, if you could all give them the thumbs up, either physical thumbs up, virtual thumbs up. Thank you so much for that beautiful and engaging presentation. I really say that I learned a lot from the both of you. And moving on to our next speaker for today, please let's confirm if we have Toastmaster Abel in the house. Toastmaster Abel. Toastmaster Abel. Do you have Toastmaster Abel in the house?
Yes.
Do we also have Toastmaster Anita in the house?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. So I'll be moving on to your topic, and that is everyone should have the right to own guns. All right, this is very interesting. Everyone should have the right to own guns. I repeat, everyone should have the right to own guns. And to propose to these arguments, please welcome to the virtual lectern Toastmaster Abel.
Thank you so much, Mr. Owning guns is associated with doing arms, killing, but statistics show that today, September 25th, 2020, at 11:44 GMT, 4,007,5,300 people have died from COVID-19 since the first case has been reported, according to South China Morning Post. Everyone should wear a mask, observe carefully the measure, and get vaccinated. This is not our topic, so let's come back to the point. People feel that owning guns means killing. For them, the perception of owning is associated with doing something bad. We all have electricity at home that kill people every day. We all have knife at home. We also have anything at home that can kill, but we don't question whether these things will kill us. We are more focused on guns owning. Guns help us to develop new skills. Like if I want to learn how to be disciplined, how to get the control of myself, I can learn shooting guns. But this doesn't mean that I am a killer or I am going to do arms. No. Everyone should have the right to own guns, and no one should prevent them from doing so. Mr. Contest Chair.
All right, thank you so much, Toastmaster Abel. On to Toastmaster Anita. You have 3 minutes.
Contest chair, I don't believe everyone should have the right to own guns. And it is important to remember that the Second Amendment was initially meant for self-defense and lawful purposes while minimizing violence in society. Unfortunately, the reality is different. In 2012, a 3-year-old found a gun in his uncle's bedroom and shot himself in the head. The same year, another 2-year-old was shot by his brother because he found a gun under his father's pillow. The gun didn't have a safety, and both events do not qualify for self-defense or lawful purposes. Both events happened in the United States, where gun control laws policy are the least restrictive in the world. You can basically buy a gun at any convenience store alongside your groceries, your vegetables, your dairies, and your drinks. A background check is usually conducted when you buy a gun, but these background checks do not include assessment of mental and psychological conditions of buyer. In addition, you can get a gun from a family, a friend, a dealer, or at weekly gun shows where no background checks are conducted, regardless of your mental and psychological condition. As a result of this ultra-liberal gun control policy, the US counted 611 mass shootings in 2020 alone. 611 mass shootings, fellow Toastmasters. That's 2 mass shootings on a daily basis. So to conclude, it needs to be understood that the Second Amendment is not unlimited. Not everyone should have the right to own guns. Guns ownership should be subjected to greater regulation to avoid domestic accidents, mass shooting that leaves families and society broken, divided, and traumatized. Contest chair.
The contest chair still available? Or is having network issues? Is anyone able to step in for him while he rejoins?
I think I should step in because I'm struggling to reach him. Toastmaster Abel, we've just heard from Toastmaster Anita. Can we hear your rebuttal, please?
Sorry, I didn't get what you mean.
She made a few arguments regarding the subject you just discussed. Everyone should have the right to own guns. We want you to make a comment for 2 minutes regarding what she said.
Thank you so much. We are talking here about the right to own guns. we are dealing with the law, not the feelings. Having the right to own guns actually doesn't mean that you will own guns. For the sake of consistency, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in its Article 3 states that everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person. Everyone should have the right to own gun because it's bestowed by law, because thoughts have to be cautioned when it comes to doing arms. Many people believe that guns, kills, but actually it's the person that pull the trigger that kills. Even a knife or a glass can be used to kill. Also, in its preamble, the Constitution of UNESCO proclaimed that since war begins in minds of men, it's in mind of men that peace must be built. And this have nothing to do with owning a guns. Mr. Contest Chair.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Abel. That was wonderfully delivered. Toastmaster Anita, I would expect that you were formulating your response while he was speaking, and now you have 2 minutes to make a comment.
Sure, it's very important that he mentioned about safety. And I want to state here that gun ownership is not the answer to a broken social, economical, and political systems. Let me give you the example of gender-based domestic violence. There's a clear correlation between gun ownership and gender domestic-based violence. In such case, guns are used to threaten, to control, and to kill 50% of the time. In the US alone, nearly 1 million women have been shot or shot at by an intimate partner using a gun. And Tamara Hopkins is one of them. Tamara Hopkins was in an abusive relationship at all levels. Her intimate partner would threaten her. If I don't kill you, I'm going to make sure you're unrepresentable. And one day, she came home late, and the unthinkable happened. He shot her 5 times in the face, the chest, and the back. And then he returned the gun on himself. What safety are we talking about here? All this to say that not everyone have the right to own a gun and be granted the God-given right of life and death over others. Over to you, Contest Chair.
Thank you so much, this was Anita. Please let us give them a round of applause. I'm sure if we had given you guys more time, you would go on and on. Thank you so much. We have learned a lot. Those are amazing perspectives. Naturally, at this point, I would hand over control to the second Toastmaster of the day, but we haven't heard from the first 4 debaters rather. So I would please like to confirm the presence of Toastmaster Nina on the call now.
Yes, I am here.
Thank you so much. All right, I would also like to confirm the presence of Toastmaster Francine on the call, please.
Here I am.
Perfect. Now, you guys have seen how it's done. I'm sure you would increase the standard for us. Now, the topic is sex education is necessary for secondary school students. I repeat, sex education is necessary for secondary school students. To propose on this topic, we have Toastmaster Nina. Toastmaster Nina, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day. I am here today to defend the case that sex education is necessary for secondary school students. I will start with 1 point. 7.3 3 million. It's the number of teenage girls around the world who give birth to their first child every year, according to the WHO. Another point, in the developing countries, every single day, you have 20,000 teenage girls from 15 to 19 years old who give birth. Every single day, 20,000 teenage girls. In my homeland, Côte d'Ivoire, according to the National Report on Comprehensive Sexual Education Program, in 2013, there were more than 5,000 students who fell pregnant. That represents nearly 14 girls every day, 14 schoolgirls every day becoming pregnant. 5 years later, in 2018, this number dropped down to 442. We went from more than 5,000 to 442. How did that happen? What were the main tools that allowed such an improvement on the global situation of young girls' pregnancy in Ivorian school system? Education, information, and communication with the young kids. Whatever our opinion on the topic, on the sex topic, we cannot ignore the fact that the children and the teenagers are curious about everything that is related to sex. We also cannot ignore the fact that in most African families, sexuality is a taboo. Let me ask you, my fellow Toastmasters and dear guests, how many among you ever discussed about sex with your parents when you were teenagers? None of you. If the family environment cannot provide answers to the kids, we should allow the educational system to give them answers to their questions and to provide some unbiased information about sexual intercourse, pregnancy, disease, so on and so forth. Because as the old adage says, an ounce of prevention is worth 1 pound of cure. Mr. Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Nina. That was so worth the wait. Please, let's give her a round of applause. Now, Toastmaster Francine, please let us hear your opposing argument to the topic, sex education is necessary for secondary school students. You have the floor.
Toastmasters friends, what I'm about to unravel right now is like the elephant in the room, because we all know this. You know this, I know this. Have you been taught to breastfeed when you got out of your mother's womb? When Adam first glanced at Eve, has he been taught to be happy, to feel content? No. Do you really think that if you haven't been taught how to walk, you wouldn't have walked? No. We are Homo erectus. This is natural. This is innate. We have it in us. Sexuality is an innate behavior. So do you really need to be taught something that is natural to you, something that is innate to you? I don't think so. But I already hear you. I hear you. I see you coming. Yeah, it's natural, but we need to be educated to do it properly. Yes. When we send our kids, our children to school, what do you know about the teachers? Personally, the only thing I know is that they have degrees, they have the qualification, they have been allowed by the ministry, the government to teach students. But is it the only thing you want to know about the person who will teach your kids such an important thing as sexuality? Sexuality is paramount. It's crucial, it's sacred. It can really build, shape, and form an individual, what this individual will become in the society, in his marriage, at work. Do you want to give that responsibility to someone you don't know? No. This is the parent responsibility. Sexuality should be learned and taught at home. I know what I want my children to become as individuals, as women, as mothers. And the only way for me to control that is to teach them myself. It is not the teacher's responsibility. And finally, do you remember the way you felt at school the first time you heard about sexuality? I remember very vividly. I felt awkward. It was funny. And from the top of my head, I remember that my other teenagers' friends, they were also very excited. And what happened? They wanted to try it among themselves. And what happened? These made sexuality trivialized. It makes sexuality as a casual thing. When you tell someone, if you want to avoid pregnancy, early pregnancy, just take that pill. What will the person do next? The person will try it. So I believe teaching sexuality to people that don't have the maturity and the knowledge to absorb all this information only encourage promiscuity around among teenagers. Over to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you. Wow. Please let us give her a round of applause. That is an interesting perspective. Toastmaster Francine, congratulations on successfully confusing me at this point. Toastmaster Nina, please come back. We're not done with you.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm back.
You've heard what Toastmaster Francine said, and now you have 2 minutes to make a comment. Please take the floor.
Unfortunately, I must say that I do not agree with what Toastmaster Francine said, with some of her arguments. Sexual education at school is not about teaching our kids how to make love with each other. It's about teaching them how to enter into their sexual life with in safe conditions, with safe information, and knowing exactly the consequences of whatever they're going to be or whatever they're going to do concerning their sexual life. But before that, I would like to come back to one point that Toastmaster Francine developed. Families and the educational system are not opponents regarding the kids' education. In most African countries, we say that it takes a village to educate a child. And the educational system, the school system, is also part of this village. Both education can be done at home, of course, with the family, but also at school. These are complementary educational tools that will allow our kids to become some sound adults who will enter into their sex life and adult life with the correct information regarding sexual education. Because the education that we give to our child is aimed at making them becoming the future of our countries. Our childs are our future. How can we not give them all the tools that they need to enter into the adulthood, into their adult life with all the information? And whether we like it or not, sexual information and sexual education is part of our child's education. And what can we do about it? We must take into consideration all the members of the village, the family, the school, and so on and so forth to educate our kids. Mr. Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Nina. Toastmaster Francine.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day.
2 minutes.
Nina, I perfectly hear you on early pregnancy among young girls. And as a woman, this is also one of my biggest concerns. seeing my 12, 13 years old daughter coming back home with a pregnancy because she hasn't been taught how to avoid it. But let me share with you this information I found on the internet about a 2002 study of the Journal of Health Economics in the US, which found out that there are some evidences that greater access to contraception is associated with an increase in underage conception. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but the fact that you are being hammered with something make you focus more on this thing, and this thing will grow in your mind. And as I said, this thing is trivializing sexuality. It makes it casual. It gives young people, this immature teenage, the willingness to try to multiply sexual partners because they know how to control the side effects of early sexuality. So my point is, give the information to people who can absorb it, people who can digest it. Maybe in high school, but early secondary school is too early. In secondary school, it's the role of the parents. Don't run away, don't shy away from your responsibility as a parent. You are not just a janitor, you are a parent. This is your responsibility. Teach your kids what sexuality should look like, what sexuality should be, and you will avoid this problem. And when they will have the maturity to understand, to absorb bigger information, then you'll have the power, the possibility to avoid the side effect of early sexuality. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much. Please, let's give a round of applause to both Toastmaster Nina and Toastmaster Francine. Something tells me they will continue this after the meeting. Okay, at this point, I would like to hand over to the second Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Ruth Ijoma. Toastmaster Ruth is someone who is very funny. I say that because she won the humorous speech contest at the club, area, and division level. She's the immediate past VPPR of Lighthouse Toastmasters Club, and she's the current VPM of same club, and she's the VPPR of Division F. Ladies and gentlemen, please give welcome to Toastmaster Ruth Ijoma.
Thank you so much, TM Abubakar, for that wonderful warm welcome. To not waste our time, we move further to the next speakers in this wonderful, exciting debate. And our next topic is, what comes first, chicken or eggs? And I'm sure most of us are dying to know what exactly comes first. So I would like to first of all confirm we have Toastmaster Ibrahim Ajani here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Toastmaster Ibrahim, okay, he's here, thank goodness. And I'd like to also confirm we have Toastmaster Christian Kwasi. Toastmaster Kwasi, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. So I would like to invite Toastmaster Ibrahim to the virtual lecture to tell us which comes first, chicken or eggs. Toastmaster Ibrahim?
What comes first, chicken or eggs? When philosophers ponder about the history of the human species, they always tend to address the question to the plight of the first man or the first woman, not the first newborn baby, because these wise men understand that it is impossible for a newborn baby to survive on its own. A newborn baby cannot survive on its own. A newborn lion cannot survive on its own. A newborn goat cannot survive on its own. A newly laid chicken egg cannot survive on its own. Snakes love eggs like that. Distinguished Toastmasters, our highly esteemed guests, and my co-debaters, it is by establishing this crucial point that emphasizes the importance of the maternal impact on the survival of the chicken species, that I hereby propose a motion that says the chicken comes before the egg. From my first point, which is that of survival, I move to my second point, which is that of creation. How does a chicken get made? An egg hatches and a chicken emerges. Now, how does this egg get made? For an egg to be laid by a chicken, there has to be the reproductive action of not one, but two adult chickens. So without these two adult chickens coming together, an egg can never be made. Now, from my second point, which is that of creation, I move to my third point, which is that of evolution. Scientific literature agrees that the domesticated chicken, which is the subject of this debate, evolved from a certain type of wild bird, which is the jungle fowl. And in line with the theory of evolution, this jungle fowl initially inhabited the wild habitat, but a section of the species were moved to a domestic habitat like 10,000 years ago. And in order for them to adapt, they had to evolve. And as a result of that process, they changed their characteristics. And as a result, their appearance and behavior changed over time, which resulted in the formation of the domestic chickens that we have today. All along the journey of this evolution, the adaptive responsibility, the burden of the adaptive responsibility have always been on the chicken, primarily on the chicken alone. The chicken evolved and produced eggs along the way, not the other way around. Distinguished Toastmasters, by stating this point, I further clarify that the chicken comes before the egg. Now, on this note, having made my point on the basis of creation, evolution, and survival, I hereby submit that the chicken comes before the egg. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Toastmaster Ibrahim. Thank you so much for that. I'll quickly move to the opposing team. Toastmaster Christian, do you support or do you actually think Toastmaster Ibrahim is right to say the chicken comes first? Please, let's hear you out.
Thank you so much. To be honest with you, this question sent me on a long journey because it remains as elusive as ever. But the good news is, along the way, I found out the truth, and I'm about to share it with you. The good news is, obviously, egg comes first. And I'm about to prove you, to show you how through two different perspectives. The point of view of scientists and the point of view of kids. And get ready to laugh and don't pull yourself together when I will be sharing the point of view of kids. So let's go first with the point of view of scientists. What did they say? Scientists said, and I quote, the egg-laying animals live long before the chicken arrives. So technically, eggs comes first. Now hear me out. You know, many years ago, before we have chickens, a kind of identical animal called proto-chicken would have mated with another proto-chicken. The two animals, pass the genes in the form of a DNA. And you and I, we know that. Anyhow, in reproduction, the reproduction of DNA is 100% proper. And that can produce a kind of little change in for the next organisms. And these little changes could create a new species over thousands of generations. And that happened with proto-chicken. And the same genetic genes created the new species called chicken, which grew in eggs, of course. And you see, you and I, before we give credit to any kind of information we receive, we would like to check out the point of view of scientists. Why? Because they have proof of what they are saying, of what they are talking about. And here you have a proof of scientists. I promise to share with you, secondly, the point of view of kids. You know, yesterday I asked one of my kids, honey, tell me what comes first, egg or chicken? And then he replied to me. He said, Mom, what do you have first in the morning when you wake up? I said, breakfast, of course. And he said, what do you have for breakfast? I said, egg. And he said, what do you have for dinner, I said chicken. He said, oh, mom, if egg is comes with breakfast, and breakfast is the first meal of the day, obviously we have egg before chicken. So, dear Madam Toastmaster of the day, I would like to stop here and to let you reflect a bit about what I've just said. Over to you.
Oh, I am totally speechless. I don't even know what to say. Toastmaster Ibrahim, Toastmaster Christian here says she has scientific backing to prove that eggs comes first. Do you support her scientific backing? What do you have to say to all she has stated, Toastmaster Ibrahim?
Well, kudos to Toastmaster Christian. And the thing she said about the baby, I think I love babies, and I think our baby has a very good sense of humor. But I think we're being a bit more serious here. What she said about the scientists doesn't really hold, because she did not really cite any strong scientific example or any strong scientific literature. She said scientists said, and she quote, which scientist? Is it Charles Darwin or the scientist at the Uppsala University in Sweden? Which scientist exactly said that? And she actually made my point for me when she said something about proto-chicken being the ancestors of the modern day chicken. Oh, she already made my point. She said chicken comes before the egg. Proto-chicken, whatever form of that chicken came before, produced the egg that she's talking about, is still a chicken, right? So chicken comes before the egg. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Christine, for making my point for me.
Oh my goodness, it's getting hot in here. I don't know, am I the only one? Toastmaster Christian, Toastmaster Ibrahim has already explained to us the backings he had. You gave us scientific backings, and he has given us evolution, he has given us survival, he has given us creation. Do you support these backings he has? And he has also stated his ideas towards your own opinions. What do you have to say to this?
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster of the day. You know, the proto-chicken is not chicken, okay? We're talking about egg-laying animals. So let's talk about evolution we were talking about. You know, you see, I would like to say that in life, everything is processed. Maybe today, you, my opponent, you are a brilliant engineer, but what didn't come overnight? You went through process, okay? Maybe this morning you have a hot cup of tea before you came here, but the thing that you use to sweeten your coffee is called sugar. And sugar is the output, the finished product of something. But at first you had something that we call seed, a seed in the soil. And after many processes, you will get that sugar in your cup of coffee. And the nature is teaching us something about it. You know, at the beginning, we have Adam and Eve, created, already matured. And what happened? They failed. And since that day, God the Creator decided that everything should go first. The process of baby, okay, that means egg or seed for me, before getting the stage of maturity. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Christian. My dear pleasant audience and judges, you've listened from the part of Toastmaster Christian and Toastmaster Ibrahim, and they keep on debating which comes first, chicken or eggs. If you ask me, I would say I come first. Don't ask me how, please. Moving on to our next team of speakers, would have Toastmaster, sorry, please, I don't want to spoil the name. Toastmaster Aicha, is Toastmaster Aicha present here? Please confirm.
Yes, I am around.
Thank you very much. So do I also have Toastmaster Titilayo in the house? Toastmaster Titilayo?
Yes, I am here.
Oh, fantastic, thank you. So this next set of speakers would be debating on the topic, all drugs should be legalized. All drugs should be legalized. This is actually a very interesting topic. I'd love to hear from them. Toastmaster Aicha, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, dear Toastmaster of the day. As you know,
drugs, sorry. As you know, drug is defined like a medicine substance which has a psychological effect when ingested or otherwise introduced in the body. We know since a long time, drugs are provided. But what we have seen as consequences is that drugs using has psychological, socially, and economically effect in the population. And what I want to say is that the consequences is bad for all population, and we have to take solution. We have to help population who has victim of drug using. What can we do? I think that when we look the statistics, we can see more than 269 persons use drugs, and more than 35 million are troubled. It means that one person from 8 needs treatment. And what we can do is to legalize drugs using, all drugs using. I'm sure that still a long time we have prohibited drug using. We can change the way, because with prohibition, we have bad effects on the population. Why not to change? Why not to try now to legalize all drugs using in order to help people? When we think about prohibition, we think that we can, it's a way of stolen. But if you legalize it, I'm not sure that many person would like to inject it, such as drug user. It's my opinion, dear Toastmaster.
Thank you very, very much, Toastmaster Aisha. That was awesome. Toastmaster Titilayo, do you agree that drugs should be legalized? Not just drugs, all drugs to be legalized. If you have a different opinion, please let's hear you out.
I cannot give that.
Bruce Lee, Marshall Athene, Michael Jackson, an American pop star, all died due to misuse of prescription drugs. Howard Edges, an American billionaire, died due to complications from overconsumption of aspirin. Whitney Houston, arguably one of the best voices that has graced this earth, died from overdose of illegal drugs. These great people who have shown great discipline by reaching the top of their career all died because they refused to see the inherent latent power in any drug. Good afternoon, Toastmasters and esteemed guests. I am here to vehemently oppose the legalization of all drugs. Drugs are chemical substances that that changes the way our mind and our body works. According to Food and Drug Administration, FDA, legal drugs are drugs that their health benefit far outweighs the risk, meaning every drug has an inherent risk, a side effect, a warning. That's why there are some drugs that should not be used with other drugs. It becomes very dangerous. That's why there are drugs that you shouldn't use alongside some beverages or eating with a kind of food. There are drugs that if you have a certain ailment, you shouldn't use. Drugs at its best should be used with precision and should be used with care. Illegal drugs are drugs whose risk outweighs the benefit. Drugs like codeine, drugs that make people to be psychological dependent on them, like ecstasy, LDC. Is this drugs that Bob Riley was saying in his quote when he says drugs are enemies of our ambition and hope? For if we fight against drugs, we are fighting for our future. Alcohol and tobacco is one of the highest causes of preventable deaths in the world today. People interact with them because of they've been legalized. The social status of these drugs make people perceive that they are not risky to their health. To legalize the drug is to tell people that it's okay to use any drug. It's to tell our children that they can consume drugs. And this consumption of drugs would cause great damage to the economy. To legalize drugs is to give a child a loaded gun and hope that he won't pull the trigger. The constant chain.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Titilayo. Toastmaster Aicha. Toastmaster Titilayo here has explained to us her reason for not having drugs legalized. She's saying that so many people have died due to its complication and abuse. Do you think this reason is enough not to legalize drugs? Please, let's hear you out.
Thank you, dear Toastmaster. I think that Titilize is focused on the consequences of using drugs. This is not the way to resolve drug using. When you look at the drug user, have a slave of the trafficker. They are the slave of bad drug using. They have suffering. They have victim of psychological suffering, social suffering, and economical suffering. I would like to legalize drug using all drug, because if we legalize it, the user we can take care of the user. If drug is legalized, we will have a control of the quality of drugs. We can have a control of the quantity of drug who is used, and we can save user because they are slaves of traffickers. And when I think government legalize the using of drugs, we can save pupils. When it's the prohibition of drugs since a long time cannot give us solution today. So let us change the strategy. Let us try to legalize for a few times, and we can see the results on the population, and we can decide. Since a long time, drug using is just prohibited. Change. Don't focus for consequences. Please, try to change the way. The prohibition is not the solution. Thank you, dear Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aisha. Thank you for that. Toastmaster Titilayo. Toastmaster Aisha is of the opinion that drugs should be legalized, majorly because we live in a populated world. And if everything is legalized, we can have good control of the quality and quantity that is being distributed. Do you think this is enough reason? Do you think this stands as a reason alone to ensure drugs are legalized? If you have another opinion, kindly let us hear.
All right, thank you very much. I think that my opponent is missing a very solid point. We are saying should all drugs be legalized? We have quite a number of drugs that are already legalized. That's why you can buy aspirin. You can buy, even a doctor can administer morphine if it's necessary to a patient. So some drugs are already legalized. But are you telling me, my opponent, that we should allow people have access to cocaine and come to work? Are we saying that we should allow people use heroin before they step out and drive on the road? Are we saying that we should allow our economy and the global atmosphere at large to be affected by lack of productivity because we have people that have access to drugs that would allow them, that would take over their mind and create a form of dependency? When we say all drugs are prescription drugs, all drugs are narcotics, all drugs are drugs that are dangerous, all drugs classify every kind of drug. So yes, some drugs are already legalized. Yes, some drugs, even as they are legalized, they are being rationed because you can't trust the human to do things without rules and regulation. My opponent, will you be comfortable having a driver by your side who has just finished using cocaine? Will you be comfortable with the teacher of your child having access to heroin? Will you be comfortable with somebody that is attending to you, a police officer, that just finished taking alcohol in his volume? When we mean all drugs, we mean that drugs whose risk outweighs the benefits should not be given to the public, should not be allowed access to the public. Thank you, the Contest Chair.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Titilai, for that. Thank you, Toastmaster Aisha, for that wonderful debate. I'll be moving on to our next debaters. And the topic is actually another important and interesting one. Climate change is the greatest threat facing humanity today. I repeat, climate change is the greatest threat facing humanity today. Please, I'd like to confirm if we have Toastmaster Mercy in the house. Toastmaster Mercy.
I'm here.
Thank you. Do we also have Toastmaster Jube Ojomo? Pardon me if I did not pronounce well.
Yes, I am here.
Fantastic.
I'm here.
Toastmaster Mercy, as our topic says, climate change is the greatest threat facing humanity today. What do you have to say to that?
Thank you most graciously, the contest chair. According to WHO, 250,000 deaths every year, which is made up of 1.5 million deaths, has been classified and categorized based on the impact of climate change. I'll be speaking on climate change, the greatest tragedy facing humanity today. And it'll be focused on impact of climate change and the impact of climate change in Nigeria, where I am from, and some of the policies that we can make with regards to the climate change. Fellow Toastmasters, contest chair, according to Mark Ruffalo, an actor and an environmentalist, he says climate change is the greatest threat to our existence in this short society on the planet. Nobody is going to buy their way out of the effect. As you know, this is a travesty. Can I just ask, or you can drop in the chat and just say C representing climate change. If you remember in 2010, the catastrophic flood that took over Lagos State, I will never forget because I was in Ghana. I think somebody's unmuted. Somebody's unmuted. Hello? Okay. I will never forget in 2010, the flood that took over Lagos and ravaged the streets, took children, and cars were moving. As you know, this is a major catastrophe that happened in 2010 as a result of climate change. Let me just state a few countries that have been greatly impacted as a result of climate change. Number one, in 2018, Japan, you know of the magnitude earthquake that brought about a real catastrophic damage and almost 1,200 people died. In Philippines, same in 2018, the same situation in Germany, in Madagascar, in India, to say the least. Let me just say this, according to the former president of United States, Barack Obama, he said we are the first generation to feel the effect of climate change, and we will be the last generation to do something about it. Would you like to join in being part of the solution? According to the United Nations, one of the agendas towards 2030 is that some of the action that needs to be taken to mitigate climate change is number one, we have to be mindful of our environment. The usage of what we eat, the carbon that we exude, we need to plant trees, and these are some of the policies. Would you like to be part of the change for climate change? Over to you, contest chair.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mercy. That was great. Toastmaster Jube, do you agree with Toastmaster Mercy that climate change is of great threat? If you have other opinions or if you have a different view of it, kindly let us hear you out now.
Wildfires in Australia, severe flooding in Europe, deadly tornadoes in the US. Those who claim that climate change is the greatest threat to humans say that it is because of increased levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. What is a threat? According to the Cambridge Dictionary, a threat is a suggestion that something terrible would happen if an action is not taken. Now, the picture that you see there reminds us of the story of the man called Nick Vujicic. What do you see, fellow Toastmasters and fellow contestants? Do you see a man with no hands and no legs, and therefore a man with a life that is full of challenges? Or do you see a man who is full of life and so is ready to take on the world despite circumstances he faces? I can tell you that we can choose to look at climate change as the doom of mankind, or we can decide to look at it as an opportunity to be the best that we are as humans, an opportunity to collaborate, to come together, to innovate, to create things out of nothing and prefer solutions. Are you aware that the climate change has caused reduced ice sea, and therefore this has led to more passageways for ships to get to the northern poles? So why do we say this is the greatest threat to humans? Are you aware that warmer climate has helped the northern latitude to have longer and even earlier planting season? How can this be the greatest threat to humans? Are you aware that because of increased levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere due to climate change, we have scenarios where plants are greener and plants are producing more carbon dioxide and giving us fresher air to breathe? How can that be classified as the greatest threat to humanity? Dr. Ranja Mineni of Boston University has documented using satellite data to show that 31% of the vegetated area of the land has become greener due to climate change. So climate change has actually done good for us and cannot therefore be classified as being the greatest threat to humanity. Contest Chair.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Jobe. Toastmaster Mercy, we've listened to Toastmaster Jobe, who has said climate change, on his part, is an opportunity for us to generate ideas, for us to collaborate, for us to bring out that natural genius nature of ours. Do you think this is enough reason to agree that climate change is not a threat? Do you see this as an opportunity to say, oh, because we need to collaborate, this is not a threat? Do you support his motion? Kindly let us hear your view.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Okay, fantastic. Toastmaster Jobe, by the way, somebody's unmuted. I don't know why it's happening on my own session. Please, can we move? Thank you so much. Hello? Please, can we mute the noise? It's really interfering. Is it okay to proceed now, Contest Chair?
Yeah, I think
is
you
it
can
okay to proceed now? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Toastmaster Jobe, I really love the picture you displayed just shortly. Nick is one of my favorite human beings because he has taken adversity and turned it into a huge success. But let's come down to what we're talking about. It's not so much about the brilliance and the grace that Nick has represented. Now, the impact of climate change, as you can see my screen here on the side, is one of them. That is the impact of climate change. Floods, erosion. The reason we have massive migration from the north to the west, to everywhere in the world, especially with all this militants and terrorists in the name of migrating their animal because they need water to drink. Majorly in the north, the whole north is dried up. And as a result, climate change has greatly impacted the fact that they are unable to feed their animals. So the impact of climate change cannot be overemphasized. Deforestation, the heat wave, the fossil fuel that we release into the atmosphere, it has greatly caused catastrophic damage. And that's why till tomorrow, I'm not sure Japan has recovered from the impact of the catastrophic disaster that erupted in Japan. So climate change is a huge concern. We need to be woke about it. What action will Toastmaster Jobe make? What are some of the actions that you're going to do to mitigate climate change today? We all have a role to play. According to Barack Obama, we cannot snap out of this. We have to work on it. Over to you, Contest Chair.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mercy. Toastmaster Jobe, you've heard from Toastmaster Mercy, who says climate change has brought more harm than good. Do you believe this natural disaster she has stated as a result of climate change is something we can actually ride on and use to determine if climate change is here to stay or not, if it's good for humanity or not? Toastmaster Jobe.
I'd like to talk about the IPCC, which is a body that's constituted by the UN rather, to look into climate change. As we speak, this persons are claiming that climate change has resulted in increased carbon dioxide and water in the atmosphere. But what they do not tell us is that there have been great droughts and great tornadoes and such weather patterns in the 1930s. It also occurred in the 1950s when there was no industrial carbon dioxide being produced by man. So the scientists themselves do not have the facts. There's not a single thing that they can use to predict or to conclude that climate change is actually because of man's activity. As we speak, do you know that there is warmer winters and it's preserving lives in places like Britain and Greece? We have less people dying because the climate is warmer. Are you aware that even though they've been screaming about increase in carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere, it has only increased from 0.03 to 0.04 in over 150 years. And this has actually caused us to have better, greener trees, giving us purer air to breathe. This is an opportunity for us to come together to provide solutions. Are you aware that because of climate change, we are having more job opportunities? Companies like Facebook and Google are actually coming up with greener energies so that we can be better as humans. These are opportunities for us, and it's not the greatest threat to humanity.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Jube. That was a rather exciting and intelligent debate from Toastmaster Mercy and Toastmaster Jube. Now, we are moving to the last debate on the list. And as the popular saying says, we saved the best for the last, according to me, because this topic is very, very interesting. And our topic is marriage is no longer necessary. Marriage is no longer necessary. Do you think in this current situation, in this current generation, in this our country, where people have different opinions to this, I would like to hear and confirm if Toastmaster Yoda is around. Toastmaster Yoda, are you here to enlighten us on this wonderful topic? Please confirm.
Yes, I am around, dear moderator. Can you hear me?
Yevis, are you also here to blow our minds away on this topic? Please confirm.
I'm here.
Great.
Can you hear
awesome.
me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you very much.
Great.
Now, dear guests, and our wonderful audience, sit back, relax, and let us enjoy this wonderful topic that I have been anticipating. So, Master Yoda, do you think marriage is no longer necessary? Let us hear your thoughts and opinion.
130,000 divorced in France in 2020. About 1,400 divorced in Burkina Faso in 2020, out of about 3,000 marriage. That is more than 50% of divorce over the numbers of marriage. Percentage of divorce is increasing. Percentage of marital violence is going increasingly. Percentage of traumatism on children, on women, and even on men is going increasingly out of marriage. And children, more children are on the streets because they are experiencing violence in marriage. And what are the causes of all this harm, all this divorce? Most of the divorce are caused by infidelity, are caused by lack of communication in couples, are caused by lack of trust in couples. Yes, dear contest, dear moderator and fellow dear Toastmasters, I'm giving you all these figures and all this information to tell you how increasingly marriage is becoming more and more harmful and doing more bad than it is doing good. We agree that all type of believers, Christians, Muslims, claims and traditional marriage is necessary, and they are proning marriage. Yes, but we now have to come to the fact and understand and agree that marriage is nowadays doing more and more harm than good. For all these reasons, I am here to stand and tell you that marriage should no more be necessary. Marriage should no more be like obligatory, compulsory for people in the world and everybody in life, because children and all people are not knowing where to go because of all this harm. Let me tell you that marriage is about freedom. Divorce is about freedom. Coming together and staying together is all about freedom. If it is so, I think that not getting married should also be about freedom. All believers should agree that they should free everybody from marriage. All believers should agree that marriage has become more and more harmful. So we should go and let people use marriage, get together, just like on a company and contractual basis. I think that this is the most freedom that can be given to all. Thank you very much.
Wow, marriage is no longer necessary. Marriage is no longer necessary. Well, I didn't say that. It was TM Yoda that said that. TM, Toastmaster Yves, do you agree with Toastmaster Yoda that marriage is no longer necessary? I am itching to hear what you have to say about this. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, dear moderator. We've just heard some reports explaining that marriage is a harmful thing and should not be necessary. First thing I'd like to say is that marriage is a union between two individuals, man and a woman, who decide to commit to one another and to share life through hard times and good times. I have to oppose the motion that marriage is no longer necessary. Marriage has some necessity in it. Firstly, because married spouses, they can grow in selflessness because they have to serve their spouse and their children, if they have any. According to social scientists, decision makers in a household will value a number of outcomes that include children's well-being, hence seeking to make the world a better place. Secondly, married spouses have different perspectives on life projects. When they take actions, they can share to one another some insights, some advices in order to make a better achievement. Marriage is something more than a physical union. It is a spiritual and emotional union. This leads me to my last point. Lastly, I would like to say that marriage provides life security. This is essential. As for example, when one gets sick, you tend to realize how alone you really are. But with the presence of your spouse, you will no longer have to worry or become distressed. It is true that there have been some mentions about the fact that marriage may be harmful in some instances, but the reason should not go to the fact that marriage is unnecessary. We have to look at the main reasons why people don't succeed in their marriage. This calls for maturity. This calls for the choice of the person to get married with. I would like to finish by saying that when you make a good choice, when you decide to get married and by being at the same time a mature person, you can have a successful marriage. So I oppose the fact that marriage is no longer necessary. Back to you, moderator.
Oh, wow. Another angle from Toastmaster Yves. Toastmaster Yoda, please, where are you? Come come and hear what Toastmaster Yves is saying. He's saying that marriage should still be necessary because it has so many benefits like companionship. And he made mention of something interesting. He said it's not physical, it's more than physical interaction, it's spiritual. So do you think these points stated by Toastmaster Yves is enough to justify the presence of marriage on earth? Toastmaster Yoda, please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, dear moderator. I do acknowledge most of the points that are my dear agreement between two people. The choice of the person is important. It is about spiritual and not only physical. All this is good. And I can tell him that I was one of the person who really strongly defend marriage. But dear Toastmasters, let's all agree with me that marriage is in trouble. Marriage is in trouble today, and marriage has been in trouble since yesterday. And I'm sure tomorrow marriage will still be in trouble. And as you say, Toastmaster Eve said, it's a matter of union, it's a matter of spiritual. It is true. But if we can get all this in marriage and still seeing marriage in trouble, why not free everybody from marriage? You can meet the best person and not get married with him and stay with him. You can meet the best person and still believe and go through your belief without any problem and be spiritual as you want. So I think that if we just free everybody from marriage and that let everybody go and have a free union and just make something like contracts, go by the laws of the contract, it should be fined or just be punished. Just like in a company, when you don't go about the rules of the company, you can be sacked away and you can even be fined to pay fines and all that. If we can do the same with marriage, let everybody be free, because marriage is a matter of freedom and it is now no more freedom. Let's be free of marriage and go on contractual basis, free union, and we will all be happy and we'll go spiritual and we'll understand each other, and less children will be harmed by all these consequences of marriage. Thank you very much.
Free us, free us, free us, free us, free us. I'm not the one who said that. That's from Toastmaster Yoda. Toastmaster Yoda, she has said you should free us, free us. And she has also stated instances why we should be free, because so many marriages today have crumbled due to infidelity, due to a high rate of divorce and all that. All these can be extremely discouraging. And it makes you wonder, why go into marriage in the first place if you would end up getting another side chick or getting another person to rub minds and body with? Why go into marriage to just come out of it 6 months? But Toastmaster Eve, do you think these alone are enough to justify why marriage should no longer be in existence? We would like to hear from you. Please. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. Can everybody mute themselves? Because I'm hearing something in the background. Well, what I would like to say is that marriage, like many of what we have to take as decision in our lives, are a matter of choice. Nowadays, people tend to think more and more and talk more and more about freedom. We all want to be free. You are free to decide to get married, because marriage in itself is a decision that you have to make to join your life or share life with somebody in view of achieving self-benefits, achieving self-happiness. But when you have to get married, the first thing, you should be mature. You should be have enough responsibility to decide to join your lives with somebody, because getting married is also a matter of taking care of the others. So if you cannot take care of the other, then you should not get married. Because here, my point is not to force anybody to get married, but it is to tell everybody that if you want to get married, just be ready to be whole, to be held to your commitment, because it's a commitment that you are taking towards another person. Back to you, dear moderator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Yves. Toastmaster Yves, are you married? Because the way you're just talking calmly, giving yours your point, seems like this young man here has tasted marriage and is here to fight us and let us know that marriage is beautiful. Marriage is all about companionship, because I can know this, I know this, and that was wonderful. I really enjoyed this topic so much. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Yoda.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Toastmaster Yves. I wish we could talk on and on and on about it, because there are so many superstitions, there are so many myths, there are so many opinions regarding this topic. But all in all, we have to put it to a stop at this moment. And I'd like to hand over. Oh, he's married. Damn it. Oh, apologies. Anyways, I'd like to hand over to DTM Chidi, who will be giving us her closing remark. Thank you to everybody who debated today. It was interesting from the beginning to the end. It was wonderful. Please, DTM Chidi, you can have the floor.
I was shocked when I heard my name, and I was wondering, why is Ruth calling me? Is she wanting me to come and talk about, is marriage necessary? Because the way she's been stressing on that marriage, I agree with Toastmaster Ebube that it is no more necessary. Good afternoon, everyone. My debaters, our guests, fellow Toastmasters. Thank you for being here with us today. I hope you've had as much fun as I have today. I want to recognize the presence of the Division Director of Division A. I love to call him BBF, Toastmaster Francis Wabile. If you're here, please put on your camera and say hello so that we can get to see you. Are you here, DDA? Don't be shy. All right, so while Toastmaster Wabile is trying to put on his video, maybe touch up his makeup, I want to recognize the Division Director of Division J, Wilfred Semboli. Wilfred, please, I hope you're not going to touch up your makeup. Put on your camera and say hello to us. Let us meet you also. Wilfred. Oh, all right. Wabile, your mic is muted. You might want to unmute.
Okay. Hello to everyone. Dear DTM today, nice to see you. I want also to thank all of our debaters, all of the Toastmasters. You did a great job. It's my pleasure to participate. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy being here, and I hope that next time we'll have more opportunities to learn from each other and to perform our level as a Toastmaster.
Thank you very kindly. Thank you. I want to recognize the presence of a district officer. He is a past Division F director. He is a current finance manager for District 94. Fellow Toastmasters, I want to recognize the presence of distinguished Toastmaster Kayode Yusuf. TM Kayode, can you please put on your microphone and say hello to us? Put on your mic. And let's see your handsome face.
Good morning. Oh, I was confused. This. Good afternoon, everybody. And it's been so awesome this morning. I was listening to all of the debates, and I assure you that I enjoyed myself so much. And what I was thinking about was we need to steal this from Division F and take it to the district. So, Madam Division Director, if that happens, just understand that I am behind it. I assure you that this was time well spent. I totally enjoyed it. I loved the diversity of the topics that we had this morning. I loved the enthusiasm with which the debaters came with. I learned so much today, and believe you me, I hope that this is going to happen again and again. Well done.
Thank you most graciously, DTM Kayode. I'd also want to recognize the presence of the Division LPQD. Toastmaster Lansine Diabate. Toastmaster Lansine, please put on your video and say hello to us.
Hi everyone. I took a lot of pleasure. It was very pleasant, and I want to congratulate everyone. Well done, and we'll be connected again and again. Well done, Division F. Hi, Kayode.
Thank you for being here. We also have with us the PQD for Division J. We have area directors here. And I want to appreciate our debaters and everyone who has given us their Saturday afternoon. I'm sure you probably would have 101 bear for my Nigerian brothers and sisters, 101 bear happening. I don't know if our brothers and sisters from Division L and J and A also have the Saturday parties, but that's a thing in Nigeria. Every Saturday, there's always one party or the other happening. And for you to give us your Saturday afternoon is something we do not take for granted. And before the district kidnaps our show, what we did today was basically a dress rehearsal. We'll have another phase of this debate come February 2022. And this time around, it will be bigger. We'll have more contestants because we would have teams. It will not be one person going against the other. We'll have teams of 3s and 5s, and it will be a full-blown debate with judges and timekeepers and the rest of it. So go and block your calendar. Further details on this event will be shared, and I believe we'll still have the collaboration from divisions A, J, and L, and who's more divisions might even come on board. And we just might take the district up on it and have them also partner with us. Now it will be a partnership, right? We'll have the district partner with us because we're the trailblazers in this. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for being here on behalf of Divisions A, Divisions L, Divisions L and Division J. Take care, enjoy the rest of your weekend, stay safe, and another debate come February. Pro players who have worked hard, a fantastic event today. I salute Toastmasters. Let me not start naming names. Toastmasters Promise. Au revoir. Bye. Feel free to network at those points. The event is ended. You can unmute, chat. While I go to ponder on which comes first, the chicken or the egg. That question is.
The chicken comes first. It is proven.
Yoda, come and share placard for us. We want to protest.
I have a feeling this debate is going to continue after this meeting. Chai.
Hey, Sako.
I do not have the answer to it.
I learned a lot. I learned a lot from you. Thank you very much.
On that.
I really appreciate.
All right.
Nobody's talking.
Can we please continue to debate?